Well done. Well done. You ready?
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. And feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Can you feel the love in the sanctuary? Hey, lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. From every walk of life, from every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in the honor of God and each other. We come together. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Hey, lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. In the name of love.
Good morning, Pacific Coast. Happy Sunday. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you here today in person and those of you on Zoom. And a very special warm welcome to any new folks joining us here today. We're so happy you found us. Woo! Wow, I haven't been up here in a while. I missed it. It's been a few months. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lauren Peach. I am a contributing member here at Pacific Coast Center for Spiritual Living, and I have the privilege of serving as your host this morning. A couple housekeeping items. If you parked behind someone, if you could just fill out one of these cards that you can get at the front, just with your name and number in case anyone in front of you needs to leave. Place a card on your windshield, and we'll call you or text you if you need to move your car. And if everyone could just silence their phone also. So that first song that the music team sang, you gotta find your people, then you find yourself. That hit. This place is my sanctuary, and I'm so happy I found you guys because it helped me find myself. I get excited to come here every single Sunday. You guys are my family and have created a safe space for me to pick up the pieces when I've been broken multiple times. And I hope I make you feel safe too, because we want you to feel welcomed here and we want you to live happily and a fulfilling and amazing life. And I know you guys helped me do that. We believe in a universal God here, an energy of pure love, not one of fear, not one of anxiety or judgment, but one of pure love. Unfortunately, due to our experiences, we lose that connection to our divine. And we get programmed to operate from a place of fear, anxiety, lack. And we get in the way of that divine connection that keeps us from living that fulfilling life that we all deserve. And that's our philosophy here, is what I've learned here that's been most important to my journey is ways to remove those barriers so that I'm able to connect to that divine God source within myself. And then after that, cultivate the love within myself so that I can operate from a place out of God's lens and from a place of love. Thanks. So that's what we kind of teach here, and a lot of you guys live your lives that way too, and it's helped me live my life that way. And so thanks for letting me share that. Our spiritual guides that are going to be guiding us through the program today is our speaker, Reverend Bobbi Becker. Woo! She's going to be talking to us about the power of perspective. Perspective is everything, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about that and help us maintain that perspective. We got our awesome music team led by Melissa Lewis. We have Michael on the piano and Phil on the drums. Our production team are John and Matt in the back. Woo! And then our production coordinators are Dale Mall and Reverend Veronica. Our practitioners holding us in sacred service today are Travis, Mary Birch, and Reverend Juanita Gardner. And our youth and family director is Wenda Arcala. Just want to say shout out to thanks to the welcome team. I won't name all of you, but you guys are awesome. And our leadership coordinator is Debbie Ann Vokes, and she's going to be coming up here to give us some announcements.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, before I start announcements, let's read our collaboration vision together. Through mindful and respectful exploration, we are creating a healthier foundation that supports and engages a whole beloved community equipped to launch new strategies for a thriving spiritual center. Amen to that. Okay, we have a couple brief announcements. The first one is the Circle, our healing arts ministry, which is run by our very own Valerie Day. So coming up on October 19th, practicing inner harmony, holistic healing, qigong, and sound bath. So join us on the 19th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. for the Circle. We have licensed acupuncturist Denise Estrada. She's back for her third time, and she's created a nurturing afternoon for us where we'll be practicing inner harmony. That sounds great. And you can register on our website and also on the link in our newsletter. Thank you. Okay, I love thank yous because it's all about gratitude, which just opens my heart immediately. Want to say thank you to Wenda and the kids for the joy jars. Were those wonderful? That was just a wonderful way to finish out service last week. I also want to say a big thank you. So we've talked a lot about the teams that are supporting the community and the wonderful people that are part of these teams, and they're really growing. And so I just wanted to thank our teams for just being of service and doing that work, not because, we come here Sunday, we enjoy Sunday service. There's a team that actually supports Sunday service, but there's also teams that work together all week long, meeting after meeting, event after event, and it really is uplifting and supporting our community. So some of the teams that I'll mention are our fellowship team. I mean, come on. If you were here on Sundays and there was absolutely no food afterwards, that would be tragic. So our fellowship team, come on. Our welcome team. I mean, I just look forward to coming in the door. If, it makes it more of a ceremony to walk in and be welcomed and greeted in such a loving way as we cross the threshold to the sanctuary. So, yeah, welcome team, come on, awesome. And then I was talking about Sunday service, so if we didn't have Matt and John, there would be no sound and no video. Yeah, I wouldn't be speaking to you on a microphone, I'd be screaming at you. And my voice doesn't carry, so thank you to those guys. Our music team, again, where would we be without music? Our youth team, talk about growing, uplifting our future generation, filling these chairs with the youth of today and bringing that into tomorrow and the future. So Wenda just does an awesome job, and Wenda and Ian are there every week. We have a finance team that just really looks after finances for the center, makes sure we're flying right and we've got enough money to keep everything going. We're purpose and intention driven, and that's what our finances support. Our fundraising team, which you can still join, Janice is heading that up, and it's going to be all about us helping to support our purpose and mission with extra funds. Yeah. We have our practitioners that pray and hold us in prayer and take care of our spiritual well-being, not just on Sundays, but always. So thank you to them. And finally, I don't think I'm missing anyone, but we have our facility team, and they are here to keep this building, all four walls, keep us afloat here, make sure that we're cool in the summer and warm in the winter. So our facility team also, thank you. And we have people that just do a little bit of everything. We have angels that do our landscaping, and they're all community members, and they all just do it out of a sense of service. So I'm in complete gratitude for everybody that steps up to serve our beloved community. So thank you.
I'd like to invite you to take a deep breath and allow the song to ground you. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. Right now, right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart, and how my mind can turn and twist and spin, just begging for some peace. That's how I know it's time to go within, be still and just breathe. every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now. I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. And with each breath, I'll go deeper in this space and ground myself from the peace within this place. I can feel the love is flowing all around me, right here, right now. Yeah, I can feel the love is flowing all around me, right here, right now.
Good morning. This reminds me of a Melanie song, Beautiful People, You Look Like Friends of Mine. Mary, would you please bring the candle forth? And this candle is meant to be emblematic of the light that we are as individuals and as community. So I would like to invite you to read the affirmation along with me. We rise together as love in commitment to one another and ourselves. We rise together with intention to learn about ourselves and each other. We rise together. And so we are here today to discuss perspectives, and you know what they say about perspectives? They're like ball and socket joints. We all have a couple or more. And I'd like to say perspectives is really touched upon really in a favorite quote of mine by Frederick Bales, great teacher of science of mind in the 40s and 50s, who said, power flows to the focus of attention. And so I'd like to share with you a perspective I have on our exit from the Garden of Eden. For on the face of the earth there were many critters, and from the tadpole to the whale, and from the shrew to the moose, and from the canary to the condor, all of them were true to their nature, and there was no other way of being on the face of the earth. And then we came along and evolved to the point where, apparently, I think it was a time when we began to have egos, and we began to consider other options as to what our nature was, and we began to be jealous of someone else's living quarters, their mode of transportation, their mate, and it led to contentiousness and conflict. It led to, it was based in ideas of separation like I or me and you, us and them. And it led to right and wrong and good, bad, better, worse, and all these things. And I think we've really just had about enough of that, especially the way we're going to war in the world and that sort of thing. And so we need an option. And I think that we in these spiritual centers can be on the vanguard of a new way of being on earth, and it involves not doing the same thing over and over again, and that would be turning our back on those duality concepts that come with having egos and judging and criticizing and leading to frustration and resentment and even hate. And so that's kind of makes me think of a couple of my favorite authors, Neville Goddard and Joel Goldsmith, who both tell us that we don't even want to go from thinking negative to positive. We want to dispense with the labels, because the Garden of Eden is about pure being. It's about no labels, and we have a perfect example of that, and that example is beautiful, glorious infants who can portray love and beauty and connection and joy even before they even know the labels. And that provides us with an example of how to be in the world and leave those ideas of duality and paired opposites behind. Especially since, for instance, if you look at dark and light, one of them is not real. We can experience it, and that's really a key thing. There are things not really real that have no foundation for being, but we can experience them. Like darkness, you cannot make a battery-operated device to hold in your hand and project darkness into a place of light, because darkness has no source. And so it's leading me to something that I heard decades ago, 3 I think, from Michael Becker, as he talked about his family going out to the car, and his oldest daughter was arguing that she wanted to sit in the front seat. And she was being very stubborn and obnoxious, insisting that rather than her mother take her seat, she would sit in the front seat. So finally they got her seated in the back, and they were underway. And they didn't get very far down the road, and his daughter proclaimed with some audacity, "This is the front seat." So that's a great example. It suggests to me that we can move through this world of appearances with all the things going on and have the audacity to say, God's truth is marching on. This is the Garden of Eden. It's also the kingdom and the queendom of heaven. We just have to adjust our perspective, leave these ideas of duality and these inclinations to judge and criticize behind, and enter into pure being of the infant. There's a reason why Jesus said, "You must be as these little ones to enter the kingdom, queendom," as I like to say. And so can we have that audacity to lead ourselves into a new way of being on earth, and just into pure being where there is unity and there is not separation, but only brothers and sisters, and that you are me and I am you. And that we walk together in harmony and beauty and love and balance and wisdom into the day that has been longed for centuries beyond counting. So I wish you all joy and peace in that undertaking. Thank you.
the sad eyes. Don't be discouraged, oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you can make you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, just call me up, because you know I'll be there. I see your true colors, they're shining. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, just call me up, because you know I'll be there. I see your true colors, they're shining. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors, your true colors are shining. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
Is it live or Memorex? Perspective. It's both empowering and debilitating, right? It can be both and everything in the middle of it. And it's really not easy to know when my perspective is hurting me or helping me, because we're so caught up in the middle of it, working through whatever it is that's happening to us, unfolding as each one of us. So there's this story of the lawyer and the duck. So this, of course it's a lawyer, right, Lauren? So this man's walking when he stumbles upon a duck in the middle of a small town square. Has that ever happened to you? The duck looks a bit lost, so the man starts to feed it some breadcrumbs, and while he's doing it, this lawyer walks by and says, "Hey, what are you doing with my duck?" And the man, surprised, says, "What do you mean? I just found it here." And the lawyer insists, "Nope, that's my duck, but I'll tell you what, let's settle this like gentlemen. We'll take turns kicking each other as hard as we can, and whoever gives up first loses the duck." The man, although confused, figures he might as well give it a shot. The lawyer says, "I'll go first," and winds up for a massive kick. Wham! The man doubles over in pain, but after a few minutes, he manages to stand up. And the man goes, "Okay, my turn," preparing to kick the lawyer, but the lawyer smiles and says, "That's okay, you keep the duck." Which one are you? Isn't it amazing that our perspective changes pretty quickly whenever we experience pain or difficulty? It's oftentimes the only time our perspective will shift. How often are we walking through an experience, troubling, challenging, and I ask myself this: why am I struggling so much with this? What is it? And I look outside at the experience or the event or the circumstance or the person or whatever it is, and I blame that. If this was different, I wouldn't be struggling. Anyone else do that? Yeah. Isn't that the human condition? When the struggling that's really happening is happening within me. And what Lauren talked about when she got up, which was, we come in here and we learn this. We learn about our perspectives and how our perspectives are affecting us. And we learned from Travis how the back seat can be the front seat all of a sudden, can't it? And that's an important, really simple example, very difficult to do, isn't it? To change that perspective, because I don't always know what's in the perspective that I'm using, because I'm so caught up. I'm so caught up. And I had this happen over the last few weeks of a particular perspective I was having of myself, and I was really kind of wondering, what is it? I have struggled with this perspective my entire life. What is it in that perspective was I struggling with? And I had to do a bit of writing, and believe me, and when I say my whole life, I remember at 7 feeling this way, and really not understanding. If I'm being vague, I'm going to be. I'm not ready to share what it is yet. Is that okay? Okay. But that perspective really can be so challenging, because I had someone tell me this week that resiliency is great, but it doesn't get you through things. It just means you're resilient. And really what you don't want to be is just resilient, because then you just go through the same thing using the same perspective over and over, and it's exhausting if you're just resilient. I was thinking about that. So in this book, this is our book of the month, is the Book of Joy, and we're talking about, how to have joy really in the middle of challenge or suffering or whatever it might be. But how do we transform suffering and make suffering sort of the source of joy? Isn't that interesting? That seems so counterproductive, doesn't it? How can I suffer and turn that into joy? How? So, one of my favorite authors, Ernest Holmes, for those of you that know him, he was the founder of this philosophy. I would say he was a founder of pulling it all together. He would even say, I wasn't the founder, I pulled all these world truths together. Because he didn't create the world truths, they were already out there. But he says this, he said, our world offers us the opportunity to cooperate with it on a spiritual basis, or to argue with it on a material basis. I do both. If we do the first, we have an abundant life with great peace. That's truth. If we do the first, if we cooperate with it on a spiritual basis, we suffer less. If we resist and argue with circumstances, well, if this was different and that was different, if she was different and he was different, if they were different, if the country was different, then I'd be okay. Do you get where I'm going with this? We will have to shift to be okay. It's just the way it is. It seems to be that way. And I would love to always feel oneness, and I don't. I would love always to have some of the experiences that I crave, and I don't. And if I was having that experience of oneness all the time, I probably wouldn't be here with all of you. I wouldn't need spiritual community. I wouldn't need to be here to learn and to grow, to challenge, to have conversation after conversation, teach class after class, give talk after talk. Because every time an incident, Rev Veronica knows this, every time I get up here, what happens? It challenges me. And so the world offers me an opportunity to cooperate with it on a spiritual basis. What is happening in front of me is not what's happening. My perspective is that's unfolding is what I believe is happening, which is real but not true. Can I say that twice? No. No, I cannot say that twice. It was good though, right? It was super good. Things that we feel are real. They are not the truth of what's happening. They are our perspectives of what's happening. And if we're struggling in that perspective, it's up to us to look at where in that perspective, which means if I'm here to change the world, which I believe, I am here to be part of change. I am here to support the end of racism, homophobia, misogyny, transphobia, all the phobias. I'm here to participate and be part of that. I'm here to do that. But if I hold the perspective that the world has to change for that to happen, then I cannot be part of that change because the change has to start with me. I have to look at what's in me that is a bias that I'm contributing to in the world that may be supporting all the phobias that are out there. And believe me, I have bias. There is not a person in the room that doesn't. Our biases often are things that we don't know exist in us because we've operated in them for so long. Simon Sinek is one of those amazing transformational leaders out there, and you can watch him on YouTube, and he gave this talk that went viral 15 years ago called The Why of Everything, and if you don't have a why, you really don't have a purpose. He also talks about the fact of diversity being really important, diversity of thought. But diversity of thought can only happen if there's a diversity of people in the room. That if we sit in an isolated vacuum and try to figure out how to solve the problems of the world, then we don't have all the right people in the room because we only have everyone that agrees with us. And we need diversity of people in the room, diversity of ways in the room. Guaranteed, and even as we do this community, one of the things that we're doing is we're coming together and doing it as a collective, still a spiritual leader, and have to kind of, when the buck stops here, so if something goes, it's me, right? That's part of being a leader. And everything we do here is based on the collective or a team. We're moving from the minister being in the center of everything, we're moving from the practitioners being the center of everything to where our community, each one of you are a practitioner of this philosophy, whether you just stepped in the room today. Because what we practice is perspective. That's it. I don't know any more than you know. I'm sorry. But the good part about that is I learn from you. So when I'm in class and teaching or I'm here on a Sunday, you will say something to me that guaranteed I will take home with me. And I will say something that guaranteed you'll take home with you. You will love it or not like it so much, and everything in between, right? That's part of the job. And so it's really important in just speaking of my own person, my own role, that my perspective is first fueled by what's in here. Because if I took every opinion of every person that spoke it to me every Sunday and every day, I'd be a disaster by Saturday. It's the nature of the job. But the really cool part about it is that I've come to really love this week is that the world offers the opportunity to cooperate with it on a spiritual basis, or to argue with it on a material basis. I get paid to do my own work on me. That's where it starts. That's it. And so the way we can view a challenge is looking, so how do we look at perspective? How do we address perspective if I'm not sure? If I'm not sure, I can usually tell by my frustration, or if I'm angry or scared. Now I know I have a perspective. I have some perspective that I've owned that I believe is true, if I'm one of those. And believe me, I think those feelings are really important to have, because they're like signs on the road. Stop, Bobbi, you're angry. Look at what you're angry at. And so when I characterize anything as being sort of, this is happening, what is happening out here is the source of my frustration or my anger, it's not true. Even if it could be, I could totally see that, it's still not the source of my frustration and anger. It's everything I carried up to this moment until that incident happened. It could be trauma. It could be something that happened to me years ago, which is probably still in the realm of trauma, but we never show up in an experience and become, and this is a good sign, this is how you tell. You walk into a situation and you just get angry. You ever do that? Just really ticks you off, right? Okay, that's a good sign. That means you've been carrying something forever. Because nothing makes us that angry, because there are people, how do we know? There are people that walk into the same situation and be sitting there looking at you like, what's the matter with you? Right? Each one of us have a perspective we carry, and each one of us have baggage that is part of that perspective, and that we carry it into each incident and event. And if we think that what's in front of us is enough for that frustration, anger, anxiety, annoyance, you name it, the list goes on, doesn't it? But when we show up in a moment and that happens, we can pause. I like to use Facebook sometimes for that practice. What are they doing? Or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. When something shows up and it just blows our lid, that's where we get to practice. When the news person says something that, and not only do you get angry about what's happening, but you get angry at the them, right, Travis? The them that Travis mentioned, what they did, what they're doing. That just distorts us and pulls us back to something that's happened in our life that keeps happening and keeps getting fueled. That doesn't mean it's right. It's very real. It's just not the only truth. There's a bigger truth to live from. A much bigger truth to live from. Dalai Lama in the Book of Joy says, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. This speaks to the idea that while we may face difficulties, we do have the power to choose how we experience them. So here's the trick though. You know when you get really angry? If you stay in that place, or if you get really frustrated and you stay there and you go down that rabbit hole, God help you when you get down, because the rabbit hole never ends, does it? No. It just keeps twisting us up and up. So can I, when I get that angry, can I go, oh, let's just pause. Hardest thing to do, right? How many of you have such an easy time when you get angry just kind of pausing it? Anyone? Zero. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I go, oh my gosh, what in the world is going on in here? What is it? And so, do you see what I mean by that suffering is optional? We grab it, we go with it, we're sure it's real, we're sure we're right. That's always a good sign when I'm right. I'm so right. I'm so right this time, and I'm going to walk in there and show them how I'm all right, and all that, and a bag of chips, right? And that's the growing point. That's a place that we get to pause. And I'm just giving you a few examples. And so here's the thing. We can actually create a positive shift in perspective. And once we catch ourselves, once we start to catch ourselves in it, something happens. This week, I had that something happen. I had a healing that I can't even tell you how big it was. I had something happen because I was practicing something, not sure. I'm not ready to talk about it. I will. But something happened in my experience that I've been working on in a very dedicated fashion for a month, actually my whole life, but very much in the last month. And when it changed, it was because I practiced something new a few times, and then I knew what the healing was. At first I went, ooh, something just happened in my body, because here's the thing. When we have old wounds, where are they stored? Where in your body? Mostly in your sympathetic nervous system. Your amygdala takes over and sends you down the road of the tiger at the door. Yes, it's stored in all your body, but your sympathetic nervous system is what responds. And if we don't deal with stuff, fight or flight shows up, doesn't it? Then it's over. The tiger's at the door and I need to protect myself. How many of you have seen a real tiger at the door? I mean, that's what it was designed for, so that we could survive the tiger at the door. So how many of you see the tiger at the door still? I do. Sometimes I see the tiger at the door, but there's no tiger at the door, is there? And I think that's the thing, is are we able to distinguish when something is truly worth our reaction, when something is truly safe, not safe, or it's just me and my perspective? There's the evolution. There's the shift. There's where we make the change. Desmond Tutu in the book says, every person, no matter how content or joyful, has difficult situations in their life. The question is how we respond to those difficulties. Plain and simple. How do I respond? I think it was last week I was talking to this idea that we are either positive construction or we are deconstructing a moment. Which one am I playing in every moment? Am I part of building up or am I part of tearing down? That's another way. And I think that's hard because sometimes we've been really hurt, haven't we? Sometimes life just feels so heavy, and there's things going on in our life that just are overwhelming, right? And yet, here's the journey. Here's the journey. The journey is all about perspective. And I wonder, let me ask you something. Is there anyone in the room that has something in their life that's challenging? Wait, no, get your hands up. Oh, good. So we're not alone, are we? Is there a pattern going on? Yeah, we're not alone. Seems to be the sort of the course of humanity. Seems to be the way that we move. We are not alone. My hand's up too. There seems to always be something, huh? Whether it's a family member or a partner or at work, a boss, a coworker, my checkbook. Does anybody have one of those anymore? There's always something. And that tells us that always something is there's something in life. Can we look at it as the opportunity, or do we look at it as, man, something's always going on? I've told my wife, please stop saying that. So yesterday, I spent the day at the hospital with Janine. She's fine. mostly. Janine has this back condition. She has 4 degenerative discs in her back. And then she has one in her neck. She doesn't count that one. I'm not sure why. She's a retired firefighter, and she's been injured quite a few times rescuing people. Usually much bigger than her if you've seen Janine. Always bigger than her if you've seen Janine. She's amazing. She has the strength of Thor. I know that because I ran into her one time and just fell down, and she said, "What?" So we spent the day at the hospital because her back went completely out. And if you ask me afterwards what caused it, I would say maybe a sneeze or a laugh. If you see her work, she hasn't done that for a couple of weeks. But she's insane. She is a doer. She will, if you called her up and said, "Come take the grass out of my front yard," she would. Joyfully. She's just that way. And so she could not move. Could not get out of bed. Well, that was day 2 when we took her to the hospital. And so we have this experience of walking through with this, and it's like there's always something. But in that something, there's that opportunity. Here I'm going to look at the opportunity to connect, to care for one another, to be there all the way through it, to be present, to not look at, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, to be present. We had great caregivers, doctors, nurses, technicians that just cared for her. It was just extraordinary. And so today, by the way, I didn't leave her alone for those of you who are concerned. There's someone there because she can't be left alone. She can't maneuver on her own. And I say this because there's always something. And then there's always a way to show up, isn't there? And we get to choose that. We get to choose how we're going to show up. We get to choose how we get to engage with one another. We get to choose what it is, whether it's an opportunity to learn or it's I'm a victim in the situation. Which one do we want? Which one do you want? Victim? No? Would you like to learn? Would you like to move on from it? Would you like to stop a pattern? Wow, I love the yeses in the room. Because that's what we're here to do. So every time we complain about what's happening in our life, we're affirming the perspective that we continue to have. That's what Ernest talked about. He said, turn away from the condition. He didn't mean deny it. Turn away from the condition and speak the truth. What he meant was, I said this last week, is turn away from the truth when you want to find the truth. Come back and look at the perspective and heal the perspective you have of the condition. The conditions exist everywhere, and we're all having an experience with them. If you look at the situation from a wider perspective, your sense of worry and anxiety reduces, and you get a sense of peace. If I can look at a perspective and look at it and not just hold my own, can I expand it and consider a bigger perspective? There's the healing. Then I probably won't get ticked off at you as much, or annoyed as much, or frustrated as much. Because I'm going to see what? That we're all doing better, our best? That we're all doing what we came here to do and be? That you're not against me and I'm not against you? There is no us and them? There is no mine and yours? There's a bigger perspective. So I'm going to close with a story. A young woman went to her grandmother complaining about how difficult her life was. Never did that. Right? She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time, and it seemed that as soon as one problem was solved, wait, did I give this talk? Yes. That another one came along. She felt like a victim of life's constant challenges. Her grandmother, wise and calm, took her to the kitchen. She filled 3 pots with water and placed them on the stove. When the water began to boil, she put carrots in one pot, eggs in the second pot, and coffee beans in the third. After 20 minutes, she turned off the burner. She pulled out the carrots and the eggs, and then ladled some coffee into a mug, and turning to her granddaughter, she asked, "What do you see?" And the young woman said, well, carrots, eggs, and coffee. And her grandmother asked her to feel the carrots. They were soft. Then she had her crack an egg, which revealed a hard-boiled interior. And finally, she asked her to sip the coffee. It was rich and aromatic. Her grandmother smiled and explained, each of these objects faced the same adversity, boiling water. But each reacted differently. The carrot went in strong and hard, but came out soft and weak. The egg was fragile, but its inside became hardened. The coffee beans were unique. They transformed the water itself into something new and wonderful. When adversity strikes, don't be the carrot or the egg. Be like the coffee beans and create something good out of the challenges that life gives you. The good news is that adversity won't end. It just won't. This month, it can be extraordinary if we want it. This month can be where we affirm the worth of all, even those we don't agree with. Even those we don't agree with. It's the worth of all. What is the antidote to not treating everyone worthy? Is to affirm and be responsible for the worth of all that I come in contact with. I'm going to keep mentioning that November 5th date, right? Does everybody feel it? Yes? Yeah, feel it? Feel it? All right, so what are you going to do? You're going to vote? What are you going to ingest? Faith? Passion? Compassion? Trust? Prayer? Oneness? Peace? Love? Now, hope. Well, how are you going to do that? Those are great words. How are you going to do that?
I write letters to get people to vote.
Thank you. What are you going to do? You're going to vote? Donate? Pray? Breathe? What? Shift my perception? Stay off social media. There's one. Meditate. Study.
Spend a lot of time watching Steve Kornacki.
I don't know that person.
He said statistically I had.
Oh yeah, that's who that is. Don't watch that.
And hold my breath.
It's all speculation, right? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know how we can be in it. Music. Yes, Pam.
Attend the Book of Joy workshop.
Attend the Book of Joy book studies, right? Yes. Dance. You know what? We are powerful. We are powerful. Collectively, we are more powerful. So I just invite you this month. So I'm just going to offer up a little prayer as we go through this week. Joy. That's God, the action of the universe. The action of the universe. Joy to me is peace, and it is wisdom, and it is feeling love and knowing love. It is balance and harmony. It is God. It is all there is. And I am one with it, and I know that each person here is as well. I know that. I feel that. That's real, and that's true. So what I just declare right here and right now is that I get involved with my own joy. And in getting involved with my own joy, I also contribute to the joy of others. For it is infectious. It is infectious. And so I walk through this month conscious. Let's just start with the week. Conscious of my actions, conscious of my feelings, conscious of my anger, my frustration, my annoyance, conscious of it. And I make a new choice sooner than later. And when it is later, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. It's okay, Bobbi. And I have compassion for myself and I move on. And I clean up my stuff when I do that. I just clean it up. Do what needs to be done. This truth I know for myself and each person in this room as we show up in life as who we are, as joyful beings. And so with that, I just release this prayer. And so it is. Amen.
This man, he's got it all worked out to the nth degree, no fears, no doubts. He retired 30 to his big ass house next to the putting green. He's got a picture in his head of this perfect wife, their perfect children, their perfect life. Nothing wrong with that. Coming home each night to his cul-de-sac of dreams. Funny now how it all goes by so fast. One day he's looking over his shoulder at the past, when everybody had to go, had to be, had to get somewhere. How did he forget about what got him there? You could be this woman, she's a CEO. She's got her power suits, her IPOs. She punched a hole in the ceiling years ago, and she hasn't pulled back since. Well, there's a gardener for the flowers, a maid for the meals, a maid for the laundry, an accountant for the bills, a walker for the dog, and a trainer when she feels the need to lose an inch. Funny now how it all goes by so fast. One day she's looking over her shoulder at the past, when everybody had to go, had to be, had to get somewhere. How did she forget about what got her there? Accidents and inspiration lead you to your destination. Or you could be the one who takes the long way home. Roll down your window, turn off that phone. See your life as a gift from the great unknown, and your task is to receive it. Tell your kid a story, hold your lover tight, make a joyful noise, swim naked at night, read a poem a day, call it well sometimes, and laugh when they believe it. Funny now how it all goes by so fast. One day you're looking over your shoulder at the past, when everybody's gotta go, gotta be, gotta get somewhere. Baby, don't forget about, you really shouldn't forget about. Baby, don't forget about what got you there. Hey, I think it's what got you there. Hey, yeah, you know what got you there.
During Reverend Bobbi's speech, a couple things came up for me. The first one is she called me out because I am a lawyer. I hope I'm not that kind of lawyer, though. I don't think so. But what did come to mind, too, was I am hired to fight from my client's perspective. That's literally what I get paid for, is to fight for, because my client believes they're right and believes the other person is wrong. So I get paid to basically fight against the other side, me versus them, to, basically give my client a voice and fight for their perspective and for their justice. But sometimes that also requires me to shift their perspective a little bit as well. And I think that we all need to do that whenever we're battling it out with someone, in a lawsuit or not. All right. I'd like to invite the ushers up today. We have Diane, Carrie, Janet, and Terry. Now is the time of community giving, and as stakeholders in this community, we give today as part of our spiritual investment here. If we could say the affirmation together. We rise together as love for ourselves and our community. We rise as acts of service, generosity, and the expression of our unique talents. As a committed whole, we give this gift today. We have a few different ways of giving. You can text to tithe, Venmo, cash money, or use the donate button on the website. Can the practitioners please stand? We have an amazing gift in this community, and it's these wonderful angels that are literally licensed to pray. So if you're experiencing a hardness of head or a heaviness of heart, feel free to grab one of the practitioners after service. They'll be standing by the patio, and they'll pray with you. So thanks, practitioners. If that doesn't resonate with you and you just want an anonymous prayer for the week, you can also grab a prayer card at the entrance of the sanctuary, and they'll pray for you all week. You just fill it out and put it in the box. Mary Birch, can you please come carry out the candle? As we open the circle, this light represents our intentions and perspectives from today's service. Let us take our intentions out into the world. All right, Rev B, you gonna come up and close us out?
Okay. So if you're able, we invite you to stand. I wanted to make a special thank you for last week. We had a couple of workshops by leadership after service. Did any of you go to that? I think it was Keith Watanabe, Eileen C. Davis, Rev Veronica, who was with you? Lorraine, thank you for that. Love what was taught last week. Thank you. That will happen again next month. We have 2 more months of it. Oh my goodness, November. Are we really coming to the end of the year? When Halloween's, it's over. It's over. So just remember, time change this month. Pam's going to put it in the newsletter so we make sure that you know, so when you show up, you're not late or early. I never remember. Maybe early. I'm not sure. But here we go. You're just not here at the time we said you should be here. So I'm going to ask you a question, and if you're new to this, just follow along. Something amazing is happening right now. What is it? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. So good. What is it called?
It is this thing called life.
life? Life is in my mind. And? Life is in my body. And? Life is all that I am. And one more. Life is all that we are. What are you going to do with life? I accept it. Hold on. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. And? I am it. Hold on. Are you sure? Yes. All right. And? I share it with all. Fair enough. There we go. How? And? Just the way it appears. Hold on. There's perspective right there. Okay? You just affirmed it. Ready? So, let's go deep. Let's go deep into gratitude. The best practice to bring perspective to something that's very true. Something to be grateful for today. Do you got it? Excellent. So on the count of 3, I would like you to speak that last line from that place of gratitude. Are you ready? Ready. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, life.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. And I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm whole.